my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Oh, well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone.
Hello everybody, welcome to Heidbangers. I'm Matty, this is episode number 7. Joined tonight by, well, actually a new face tonight. Scott, how are you doing?
All good, all good. Thank you for letting me join in.
You're very welcome, and that's not an Edinburgh accent you've got. Where are you joining from?
I should apologise in advance. I am English. I'm sorry about that. It's not my fault. I was born this way, so I do apologise. But at least people will be able to understand someone when they watch it this time, so that's good.
There's no need to apologise for being English, but my mum's English. I'm half English, so I have no issues with English people. Gordon, how are you doing?
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah. Do you want me to elaborate more?
No, that's fine.
Right now.
That'll do. I've also got Alex on. Alex, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm totally fine. I've tried not to let Hibs ruin my whole weekend, so far so good.
Did you manage it?
Just about, aye.
So we've got half an hour left to kind of turn on the scene again.
Aye, pretty much.
John, how are you doing? You've got your Scotland rugby top on. You'll be buzzing after yesterday.
Yeah, I was at the game yesterday, and I'm still on cloud nine, like absolutely buzzing to get to see Scotland beat England at a spot live. That's unbelievable. I never thought that would happen. So I'm well chuffed.
And peanut cuddling as well, which is, one of the biggest sports around at the moment, isn't it? The peanut cuddling. Right. As always, we bit of housekeeping before we start. So none of us on here are mental health experts, so do not consider anything at all that we say in here advice. If you're struggling, you're more than welcome to join in the conversation with us or get in touch with us on Twitter. We've got a wee WhatsApp group, but we would always suggest that you seek professional help if you're in a really bad place. And by that, I don't mean Paul Beth. Right. So tonight's topic was just really kind of around the table just to see how everybody's doing. A wee check-in episode to see how life's treating us all. So, John, you're on a high for the rugby. So, how are you doing?
Good. It's been a no bad few weeks. So I was at the rugby yesterday. It was something I've always wanted to do. I've seen Scotland play England at the football when we drew 2-2, and I've always wanted to do it at the rugby. So to go to Murrayfield, I stadium with 67,000 fans, and to hear the national anthem, especially in the last 10 minutes, the emotion starting to come out, and that full-time whistle went, it was just like unbelievable. I was absolutely soaked though. I got soaked walking through the West End to the Murrayfield. Yes, I'm sitting there cold, wet, but I was absolutely worth it. So probably off my work the next couple of weeks with the flu or something. But that was good. I was at the local golf club. I'm a member of the local golf club, just as a social member. And they had an AGM during the week there, so I've now put myself onto the committee. So I've now got something I did it years ago for a couple of months, but obviously I wasn't in the right frame of mind and stuff. But a bit older, definitely wiser, but definitely older now. So for me, it's just something I want to do. It's going to take me out of my comfort zone. So it's a challenge I'm looking forward to doing.
How are you feeling about it?
Nervous. Before, when there's functions that on, usually what I'm helping all that, and I'm not very good at talking to a lot of people, and I don't really know and stuff. There's going to be a few challenges ahead, stuff like that helping out, but I feel like I'm in a good place now, and I think it'll help me take me out my comfort zone. I've just been kind of in my own wee bubble with my pals and stuff. So it's something new. It's something I think is going to help me move on with the anxiety. So I'm looking forward to doing it.
Good for you. And Alex, how are you doing? You mentioned about Hibs not ruining your weekend. How's things?
I mean, during the week was all right with the derby, but should have beat them. But aside from Hibs, everything's all right. Took my daughter down to her gymnastics today, and I don't know if you know or not, but local to us, somebody went missing on New Year's Day. A young lassie, 28-year-old, or I think.
Yeah.
She's still no still not been found. But my daughter's noticing all the signs round about, and but it's on every lamppost, and she's asking questions. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck to answer this. So I always thought I would never lie to the kids. When I became a dad, and I was like, I'm not going to lie to them about Santa or anything. Your mum can do that. So she asked me the other week, she said, when we go into Portobello, these signs get bigger, Daddy. I was like, right, okay, I don't know what to say. And she says, there, look, there's a sign. Who is it? I was like, it's a girl that didn't come home one night. And she says, well, she'll be home for Christmas or Easter because she'll miss her meal. I was like, fuck, I don't know how the fuck to answer it. So it just made me feel like shit. And seen the signs again the day. And I knew she was wanting to ask, but it's almost like she knew not to ask as well. So that was a bit strange. That's about the only thing I can think that's puzzled me lately. But everything else is all right.
Have you thought about what you would say if she asked you again? Like, are you happy with the? That's the wrong question, but with the approach that you took, have you kind of thought back on it and thought that was the right approach, or would you do something different? Or
But I just thought that was the most honest way to say it. It was like she didn't come home one night, and she just isn't home yet. We don't know where she is. And again, she's 6-year-old now, and she says she should just phone her mum. like, aye, maybe she should, but it's just not as simple as that. And then she dropped the thing about the Christmas and Easter. I was like, I don't know what to say. I always thought I'd be quite witted with the kids and that, but one of the other being quite witted, my 3-year-old laddie, like when the pandemic was over, like deep into the pandemic, we seen a plane flying overhead, and I was like, oh, look at that, there's a plane in the sky, we've not seen one for months. I says, I wonder where it's gone, and my 3-year-old laddie, just quick as you like, went, it's gone to the airport. They're sharper than me, I think. So. But that's just the weirdest thing recently.
It's a challenging thing to talk about, eh? Like, I suppose that's part of parenthood, isn't it? Your kids will ask you awkward questions and questions that are challenging to answer. Scott, your first time on the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm not so bad, you know. Yeah, I'm having a good few days. I've been to the doctor recently, and apparently I'm lacking vitamin D. So that caused a massive laugh when I told people that I need more D in my life. Apart from that, I'm doing okay. You know, I'm doping up on vitamins. I'm getting there one day at a time. And as the gentleman said before about trying new things and putting themselves out of their boundaries in terms of, this is why I'm doing this. It's not like a New Year's resolution. I just wanted to try new things, you know. So this is part of that. And yeah, it's one day at a time, isn't it? I buy new toys, make myself happy, see what happens tomorrow.
What are the symptoms of a vitamin D deficiency, if you don't mind me asking?
Ask your wife. Lethargy. Apparently, I didn't get out enough during the pandemic, which was hilarious because no one got out during the pandemic. Well, apparently, you need to go out more in the sun. You are lethargic. You've got no energy. You've got, your mine are really low. So I've got to take tablets for my vitamin D. So I took my D before I joined this chat. So I'm okay. I should be have enough energy to get through it.
Happy days. Gordon, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I've been better, I think. To be honest, I've been struggling a bit recently with stuff, and it's not a specific thing. It seems to be like it's an accumulation of things that have just been really stressing me out, and I'm a bit. Well, obviously, I've spoke before about the issues that I've had, and like with anger, and how I use mindfulness to help me with that. And I'm starting to get to the point where I'm getting a little bit scared that side of me is going to start coming out again. And the mindfulness stuff isn't working as well as it used to. So I'm trying to find other ways to deal with stuff. And I haven't felt like angry or anything yet, or felt like I couldn't control myself and I was angry against the world or anything in particular. But I've got that fear, and I think that's probably making things probably worse because I'm scared of something that might or might not happen, and knowing like what kind of person I can be when I let things get on top of me too much. I'm at the point where I've got like pains in my chest and like I'm breaking out and like hives and stuff, and I feel like we're kind of getting forced back into the office next week at my work, which isn't really helping. I love working from home. I can't be arsed with the commute, and it's just a bit of a pain in the arse. And I don't know if anybody else feels the same about like financially the way the country, the United Kingdom is going just
Absolutely.
now as a total piss take. And I'm look, I don't want like to come across like this to come across wrong at all, because I am very well off compared to a lot of people, and I'm very well aware of that. Me and my family don't go wanting for anything. I work hard, which I know most people do work hard for the money that I bring in, but I can see that if things keep going the way I'm going, I'm going to start struggling in certain areas eventually. And I have two teenagers, and then in a couple of years' time, they're going to be going out into the world, and I'm very, very scared that they're going to struggle even more than we've struggled, and I need to have something there to help them. And if I'm struggling, how am I going to be able to help them as well? So I think stuff like that is just kind of getting to me. And again, like as I said before, mindfulness is try to teach you to live in the moment. Don't worry about what's in the past or what's in the future. But like I say, I'm struggling with that just now. I'm thinking about too much about the future, thinking too much about what might be happening. And I'm not in a totally bad place. I know there's loads of people in a worse place than me, but I feel like I'm on a downward slope just now. And I've not even like spoken to anybody else about this. I just know I can speak to you guys and get it off my chest, which is helping. But that's kind of where I'm just now, and yeah, hopefully I can get out of the rut.
I think it's because something that's out of your control. Really, what's happening with the country is it's going to happen. Like there's nothing that any one of the five of us could do about it, really.
Yeah.
Because I recognise a lot of what you're saying there. That I'm very worried about some of the stuff there, and it's almost at the point where you kind of just bend over and take what's coming. Do you know? Like it's assume the position, brace yourself, and then whatever will happen will happen. Do you think if there's something you had more control over, Gordon, that you might feel a bit better about it?
Probably. Well, I mean, I'm not a control freak by any means, but I do like to be in control of stuff that like I should be in control of, if you know what I mean. But I mean, you're totally right. And don't want to get too political, but like this is supposed to be a democracy. You know what I mean? Like I don't, and we're very, very, very far from that, in my opinion, just now. And you're right. Like we can't control it. It's just going to happen. But in my mind, it shouldn't be like that. We should have say in it, and we should be able to control some of it. But maybe I need to just accept it. I can't. But then I don't know if I'm that kind of person that could. It's difficult to answer. But you're right. I think if it was something that I could control, then I probably would be, because I could do something about it. Although I suppose if you can control it and you fail at controlling it, and that sometimes can make it worse. So it's difficult.
To me, I don't think it's about control, because you can only control certain aspects of your life to a point, and then the rest is chaos. I always say the only constant is chaos, and every day is chaos, especially with kids and the world and everything is chaos. It's not about control, it's about acceptance and sort of going, right, this bit is not working right now, but this bit I can sort of fix and I can work, but this bit, and I'll ignore that for a bit and I'll come, and I think it's a sort of case of too much at the same time. I stopped watching the news. That did me a lot of freaking good. I stopped watching the news. I stopped having that input. I stopped reading newspapers. I stopped bringing bad information into my life because the stuff I've got going on, I don't need that on top of it. You're already thinking ahead to when the energy crisis happens, which could be 6 months, a year down the line, and that's already worrying you. So that's not a good thing, is it? You've got to live through today, never mind 6 months down the line.
Yep.
It's not a case of control; it's a case of too much information.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and you're 100% right. And that's the worst. That I know all this stuff, and I've been doing that for so long now,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's making things worse because I'm not just living just in the moment just now and dealing with what's happening just now. I'm thinking too far in the future, and it's kind of like my thoughts and everything are just running away,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to bring it back to just deal with now. Don't worry about that, but I'm struggling. And I don't know why. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. It might just be a light bulb moment, and something will just happen, and I'll just have a day and a moment of serenity, and it'll just all click into place. But yeah, just the last couple of weeks, I've just been feeling more and more stressed about everything, really.
So you said like this is like the first time you've spoken about it. It's good that you recognise it yourself, Gordon. I think, like that's a good place to be in. What have you got available to you to help?
Well, I've got great friends and family, and I've got you guys on WhatsApp chats and stuff like that I can kind of unload on, which I think does help. I've never really spoken to anybody professionally, because I've always managed to find a way myself. I did when I was like, I think I was like 19, 20-year old. I spoke to someone after I went through a breakup with a long-term partner, even though I was only like 19, 20. And it kind of hit me hard. Seems daft now looking back at it, but it was obviously at the time you just deal with those things. But I've never really spoken to anybody professionally for a long, long time about anything that would be current in my life. I don't think I'm quite at that stage, like that I would need to go that far. But like I say, I've got that kind of fear that I might be soon. And I might start just being unable to deal with stuff, and then I don't know how I'm going to react to it. I don't know if I'm going to just start lashing out, or if I'm just going to internalize it and make myself ill. So yeah, I've got, like, I'm very lucky to have friends and family that I can lean on, and I know I could speak to them. My dad, my mates, definitely could. But I'm not really sure. I'm so busy as well. Like and it just seems like I'm making excuses for myself here. But like, I'm so busy at work. I've got 3 kids. I'm just bouncing all over the place. Like, when I eventually finish my day, it's like 9, half 9. The youngest is in his bed. I just want to lie in bed, watch an episode of Dexter or something, and then go to sleep. And then start the day again. That's probably not a great place to be either. But I suppose that's kind of life. I know most of you guys will probably relate to that.
Relate to that. I think this week was probably the first time in. Well, I kind of lost the rag a wee bit this week at home, but just to like, I'm not really a moan a bit. Like, if you'd ask my wife, she'd say like a wee moan, but generally it's like a kind of wee moan about trivial things. It's just like, okay, get it off my chest and then move on. But really, like, a wee situation of work is stressful, bit of stress at home. Teenage kids, right? They're tidy up. Doesn't matter how many you tell them, how many times you tell them. It's just no on the radar. And I would have been the same as a teenage kid. I'm sure all of you would have been the same as a teenager. You just like, what they do is they take bowls and plates up to the rooms, have their dinner, and just leave them at the landing. I said, take them down, right? You can go on and on and on about it, and there's nothing to do it, so I end up having to do it, and then that annoys me. And then a taxi for everybody, and that annoys me. Another night, I'd come down, I can't remember what happened, but I asked folk to tidy up. The place was worse than when I'd asked them to tidy up. It was like, just packets. And it came what goes through folks' heads. You know, they open like a packet of cheese. You've got half the cheese on the counter. The packet's not put back in the fridge. it's all lying open, so there's a bit that you have to kind of cut off and put in the bin. The bread's left open. Just fucking. And I got to the point, I can't remember what I was trying to do, but I wanted to just do something. I had in my head I was going to just do something for myself, and I couldn't do it to deal with the dog. And I dropped something, I can't remember what it was, like a plate fell. And Kevin just like, it's like it lights the fuse, and you just go, fuck's sake, you know. And I'm sure I came up the stairs and I was saying to James, like, I've fucking had enough of this. I'm at the point where I'm going to fucking leave. Like, and she's got laughed again. That'd be stupid, more or less. Which was right. Okay, that was the right response to have, because I was literally having a wee temper tantrum to myself. And it was like a wee bit kind of rationalisation just to say, Camden, it's just some dishes, whatever. But it's not a nice thing when you're in the middle of that and you're kicking off. Like I say, I'm not like an especially angry or getting stompy about person, but fucking hell, this week has been a test. Even tonight was like putting the dinner on, and I had to give somebody a lift. So I sometimes find myself in a position where giving folk lift sites will be the kids or pals, where you've no choice but to do it because they've missed their last bus, or maybe their mum and dad's got money for the bus, or whatever it might be, and there's nobody else will do it, and you can't just let a teenager walk miles and miles and miles back to their house. Fair enough, we probably would have done it when we were that age, but like, you know, the world's a bit different. So you end up having to do things that you're like, I don't want to do this, but I have to do it. So I had to do that while I was cooking the tea. Time I got back, the tea was already, bits that were cooked, other bits weren't. So the tea wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I had to rush my own tea because we're doing this, and like I'd already bumped it back 15 minutes. And like, right, Wolf doing a tea, try to get the dog to come back up, and it's just like a huge amount of stress. It's fucking unnecessary. But this is what happens when I start unloading. This is the type of moan that I would normally have, which I think is quite a healthy thing to do.
Yeah.
Where we moan like this now and again.
Do you feel like, Matty, when you had that kind of like, you know, your temper tantrum, as you called it, you had to get to that point to have that realization?
I think, it's a really good question. There's probably a moment partway through where it's like you can see it coming, and I know it's coming, and sometimes you catch it and just go down and be stupid and just take a step back. But it's almost like other times it's like it feels welcome. So it's like you need the release because it builds up, and there's maybe like 5, 10, 15 things that have been niggling at you. And that's the wee bit where you can just kind of go bang, get it out, and then forget about it. But it's no good. But when stuff fell off the top of our wardrobe the other night, just like a mental thing, it was coming and carrying stuff in, banged into the wardrobe, whole load of stuff fell down. And again, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, because it was been that kind of stressful day, and there was DVDs and everything. I'm like, fucking get them in Music Magpie, get them to chuck them in the bin. Then I went, got a big bin bag, and I'm chucking everything out. And then it was like 3 or 4 nights later. This is when you realise the impact of it, and you realise how stupid it is to do something like that. But I've got the wrong pizza for my daughter. At the shops, she'd asked for a wee pizza, and I thought she meant one of these wee microwave ones. That wasn't what she meant. So anyway, when she saw it, she was like, Ken, teenager, so unfair, like Ken, oh, so unfair. And then she had a tantrum outside the door, and I'm going like, what, are you 5? Well, you didn't have a tantrum, like you're 15, no 5. You did it. I fucking did, aye. And I said, no way to go after that. You go, yeah, you win, I'll stop. And you have to explain that. I did have it, but that wasn't right. It's not a good look, I didn't think. Yeah, when you reflect back on it, it's not a good look.
No, but that's where I struggle, because I think the hardest thing is to realise before it happens that that it's coming, and to stop it and find a way to stop it. When it's all those little things are building up, and it is always the little things, like just constant little things builds up, and it seems when you isolate them into small parts, they are just daft. But when they accumulate, they aren't they? And then it's like trying to, this is what I'm, and it probably is a good thing that I'm sitting here saying I can see myself getting to a point where I might start having tantrums and getting angry about stuff, but it's that thing of stopping it.
It harks back to last week's episode where one of the signs, and you're seeing the signs, cut to you 6 months, a year ago, those signs would have just been another level of annoyance. But now you're seeing them as signs. You're seeing this as this is building up. This is going to happen one day. You wouldn't have had that a year ago or 6 months ago. But because of these discussions, you're seeing them as signs now. And that's really healthy. That's a really good way of thinking of going, I'm going to go A, B, C, instead of just literally jumping to C. You're getting there, as it were. And I think seeing the signs is a really good place to be, because you're going, I don't want to go to C. I want to not go there. I want to stop it where it is now and go, let's fix it and let's do something about it. Does that make sense? It's like you're talking about it and getting it out your system instead of waiting for the to happen, which you don't want. You obviously don't want it to happen to you. So you're stopping it in its tracks, which is really good.
You need to do this professionally, Scott.
I've been through a lot
You're
of
coming on every week. You're not getting a choice.
I think as well as when stuff starts building up, it can affect your mental health, and then when that kicks in, and then you start with your anxiety or you're just feeling like shit, that can trigger stuff as well. So I think the wee things that start building up, it can lead to. I mean, I've had outbursts. I mean, I've done it at my work and told someone to go and fuck themselves, but I don't. And you're like, I maybe shouldn't have done a bit of my job at this. But sometimes you need it, and then you kind of get a grip again. But then, but I think the wee things build up. It's your mental health can just go like a volcano.
I get mouth ulcers, the way Gordon said the skin reacts. I get mouth ulcers. So I know I'm feeling down and low because I get mouth ulcers. I know that sounds really bizarre.
No, I'm exactly the same.
My eczema kicks in. I know I'm at a low ebb. I go, right, okay. I can feel it coming. What do I do? So I do these steps. I take myself off. I have a little coffee by myself in a cafe somewhere. I buy a new thing from the internet. I treat myself a little tiny things. You know what I mean? And it helps. It really does. But like I know at one point I went off and sat in a cafe outside and had a sandwich. I took a photo of it because I was so proud. I got out the house and away from the situation, and I was by myself, and I went out by myself. And it's a tiny, stupid thing that everyone else does every single day, but it made me feel so proud of doing it. And I know, it's stupid, but it worked. So it worked for me. So find that little thing that you can do for yourself. Just you. Go off and play guitar for time. I think there should be like a screamatorium, where there's like a hut. You go in and just scream for like 20 minutes and just don't stop. And then come back and go, okay, it's at my system now. There should be something like that to do. But
it's really good advice.
Plates, isn't it? You can splash plates with it. Yeah, I would do that. I would pay to do that.
I think that's really good. I think I know that's advice that my doctor gave me, more or less, was to say, he said, find a couple of things that you love doing. So I normally play the guitar. I can't play guitar, but I have a guitar. And play the Xbox or go and watch the football. And the Xbox is probably the one that I would go to the most, because you could just lose yourself in it. But what you said, Gordon, was you're getting to bed at 9 o'clock, and you just want to watch something on the TV, and then you're sleeping, and then it starts again. And you didn't have that. It's like finding the time to switch off and almost being in the mental state to accept that you can switch off is really difficult when life's like that, when it's like 100 miles an hour, everything's happening. You just don't have to. It's that taking that time for the self-care, but you have to make that time. I don't know if that's something that resonates with you, Gordon, about how you're feeling if you're not getting that time for the self-care.
It definitely does, because I know. Well, I mean, we've spoken the group chat a few times, Scott. I know you're like massive into comic books and stuff like that. That was always and I shared my pictures of my tattoos earlier today. Like, comic books for most of my life has been my escape. I can't remember the last comic book I read, because I as soon as I start reading one in bed, I fall asleep halfway through it because I'm so shattered. And it's like, and then because I've been working from home, and this might change going back to the office, and this might be a positive, but I've been working from home. I'm working through my lunch because I've got so much on. I just get my food for the kitchen, and I just sit here and I just work through it because I'm so busy, and it isn't great, and I recognise that, but I'm like, and then I just keep thinking to myself, well, I've got to I've got to do this extra because this is like, I've got to do this to provide for my family. I need to get a high rating. I get my better bonus and all that kind of stuff. And you start snowballing down that route. And those guitars, I used to play guitar all the time. I played in bands and everything. And they're just like, they're so out of tune because I've not played them for so long. Got the amp player I've never plugged in since I moved into this house about 2 years ago. And I really want to play music again. I really want to read comics again, and I have these realizations constantly where I'm like, I need to do this again because I loved it, and I've never done it because X, Y, and Z gets in my way. And I don't know if I'm just making excuses. I don't know if it's just because that's life. I don't really know, but I think you're right. I think, and it makes so much sense. I need to try and do something to find the time to do it, and I think we all do.
Sorry, John, on you go.
I was going to say, I'm stuff I used to do as a kid when I was a teenager. So I never really went out much of that, but I used to do stuff like watch films, telly, go to football and that. And I used to find, like, growing up, I'm originally from Dalmahoy, so I used to go to the farm with my gran and see my gran and granddad, and I'd be out in the tractor all day with my granddad. Loved it on the way out helping. And I lived in East Calder. It's amazing places I could go for a walk. And there's one place I used to go, and it was quite quiet, beautiful scenery and everything, and you could just see the cars going by in the background. I was like a soothing kind of sound. You could just sit there for hours. And when I moved to Fife, my mum and dad, well, they had to get the dog put down during lockdown, but they were going to get a new one. But I missed taking their dog when walking around the golf course. I love it. I just love going somewhere quiet. Again, I've started watching films. When the lockdown started, I've got right back into music again, just listen to my music. If I'm stressing out or I feel kind of fucked up or messed up, just taking what I do, I'm just going to listen to my music for a while, lie in my bedroom or lie on the couch, just listen to music in the dark. And it's like, it's just discovering that way to get yourself shut down again.
You have to find your thing. Like, cut to me 10 years ago, I hated silence. If I walk in the room, the TV's on, the music on, everything's playing, I need noise. Now I sort of put the radio on quiet in the background and I just sit and be calm now. And that wouldn't have been me a year ago. I'd have been like, I need the volume loud, I need everything playing. And it's the thing where you just say, you need that little bit of whatever it is. Now you change and whatever, you don't need that stimulation, you need this stimulation or no stimulation. Or like, I think in your case, you need nout. You need to do nothing instead of overthinking, doing this. You need nout, you just put a bit of tune on, lie down, nothing. You know, it doesn't have to be exciting or thrilling, or it's just anything to get you through that 20 minutes, half an hour at your time.
My biggest problem with anxiety is I'm just used to being on my own, doing things on my own. When I was early 20s to, I'd probably say, early 30s, I was going out with my pals, doing stuff and seeing my pals all the time, but then I just started gradually shutting myself away. And when I got diagnosed with mental health, again, I was out and about doing a lot of stuff, but I've just went back down that road where I spend a lot of time on my own. I go and see my mum and dad, I go to my work, I go to the golf club, but that's about it. And it's like, I've not really had a life. With my mental health, I've lost out on a lot in the last 20 odd years with my mental health. And it's like, when you try to do something, like try to go on dating sites and try to go out and do stuff, it's like your anxiety kicks right in again, and then it pulls you back in, and it messes with me. So I just kind of go back to doing what I do. It makes me happy, and it's a good thing, but it's also like my worst enemy at the same time.
I think people who can be their own company are very strong people. There's a lot of people who, through the pandemic, freaked out because they're not used to their own company. They were locked in and was like, I'm used to going out all the time. I'm used to seeing other people. I'm not. I'm a geek. I stay in. I read all day. Same with you. Other people's company is like, it's a limited experience. I've done it. It's over there. Now I'm going back to a book. I don't need that anymore. And I think that's what's got us through, is being, we didn't need other people and we survived the pandemic, as it were, because, you know, we were shut off from everyone. I've been shut off the last 30 years, and it was no big thing for me. So I think that's a really good strength to have, to be your own company. And not a lot of people have got that. So don't take that as a weakness, take that as a strength, that you can be your own friend, as it were. You can be good in this by yourself. It's not a weakness.
Next time I've got a kitchen to fit, I'm going to invite every one of you along on day one. and kick the fuck out of the kitchen, or get a hammer and just knock it to fucking smash it to death.
Exactly.
It's one of the best stress reliefs ever. Just battering the fuck out of a job before you change it. So maybe
Yeah.
not go and smash your own kitchen to bits, but
I
make
think I was
sure
too
you're
far
on the
from
right
it
edge.
this week, yeah.
Some of the
right, guys.
skip's quite therapeutic as well, by the way.
Aye.
Aye, but it's like Tetris. You've got to get the most out of the skip that you can get. Any space wasted is just totally. It's a waste of money. So you've got to Tetris it to fuck. So
Dirty Tetris.
aye.
You can sing the tune when you're there, Alex.
Oh aye. Not four of them.
Excellent. Right, we're kind of hit our time limit for the night, guys. I really enjoyed that conversation today. I actually feel infinitely better than I did before we started recording, which is always a good sign. If you've been listening and you want to get involved, just catch us on Twitter at Longbangers, or you can email us at longbangers@gmail.com. We do have a very open and close WhatsApp group as well that we're happy for new folk to join. So again, get in touch if that's something that you think would help, and if you want to come in and join the discussion on Heidbangers, again, let us know and we'll make space for you. In the meantime, we'll be back with Longbangers tomorrow night to talk more about Hibs. If your mental health hasn't been damaged enough. Until then, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
County line I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.